It's Harry Potter Week Part 2. Hey guys, so in my last video I mentioned that I would prefer to see Hermione with Harry, which is not the most popular view in the fandom, and I just thought I'd do another video just to expand on that, especially now because I feel like it's my last chance to make any sort of statements on the topic while the fandom is still in progress, so to speak. And just so there's a factual canonical basis to what I'm about to say, I'm going to read you guys a quotation from J.K. Rowling in an interview that she did after the release of the 7th book. Now, the fact is that Hermione shares moments with Harry that Ron will never be able to participate in. He walked out. She shared something very intense with Harry. So I think it could have gone that way. And that and any other quotations that I use to support my arguments will be linked in the doobly-doo. Now, to get things started, in my last video I said that I felt that Hermione's whole character kind of fell apart when it came to her romantic subplots. But Lauren, I hear you say, Hermione doesn't have to be perfect. And I agree, she doesn't have to be, and she's not. Hermione's a bit of a vocal skeptic about things like divination, and she doesn't think before trashing it in front of Lavender and Parvati, who love divination and really believe in it. And Hermione is also kind of bossy and overbearing when it comes to many things. But with a character who for the most part is such a wonderful role model for young girls, why does she have to be the personification of that thing your mother always told you when some little boy at school made you cry? Oh, sweetie, if he teases you, that just means he likes you. Now, we all know this is not something to go by, otherwise we would all be dating the unreformed Howard Wollowitzes of the world. Yeah, I'm going to toss out some eggs and just see what I can reel in. This is an eye patch, just like in that episode where Howard said something to that effect. And by the end of the series, Ron's behavior is not reformed. And this bickering is something of a trademark for Ron and Hermione's relationship, and it continues all the way until their first kiss on that battlefield. And it's brought on by Ron finally saying something nice about SPEW. If they haven't grown out of this behavior by now at age 17, then why should they ever do so? It's just the way they operate. Ron and Hermione bicker and grate on each other's nerves all the time. Whereas Harry and Hermione, when they do have conflicts, it's always over things that matter. For instance, in Goblet of Fire, you have Ron and Hermione standing like pretty much at opposite ends of the room, yelling at each other over Yule Ball drama. Like, yeah, they're 14, but consider only a year later when they're 15, Harry and Hermione are having a huge argument over whether or not they should go save Sirius, whether or not Harry's vision was actually correct. And it's implied in the book that Harry and Hermione are quite close together when they're having this fight, as she has to jump back when he yells in frustration. So visually, which do you think has more unresolved sexual tension? People at opposite ends of the room, or people close enough that one would have to jump back if anything extreme happened? Just saying. And then there's the other couple in the One Big Happy Weasley family, Harry and Ginny. And I just find there's no richness of emotion in this relationship. There isn't really any give and take. It's just Harry with a chest monster and Ginny with a schoolgirl crush. And that chest monster could be a euphemism for raging hormones or something to do with that. They don't sacrifice anything for each other except for, you know, being together. And whether he was with Ginny or not, I bet you that Harry would have completed that Horcrux hunt and sacrificed himself in order to defeat Voldemort anyway. Now, as I said before, and there is an article to back this up, Ginny doesn't sacrifice anything for Harry. Not really, especially compared with Hermione, who gives up her safety, her parents, her schooling, quite a lot. And Harry and Ginny are the couple that make me think most of all that J.K. Rowling's main operation for constructing her romances is the Oedipus complex. Because at first look, oh, it's like history repeating itself. Harry looks just like his dad and Ginny looks just like his mom. Wait, what? Ew! And it seems to me, and there also seems to be word around the fandom, that Hermione's personality is very similar to that of Mrs. Weasley's, you know, very strong and overbearing, and that could be part of the reason why Ron and Hermione were put together, because she partially resembles his mom. Come on, really? And also, I've always found it suspicious how J.K. Rowling always characterized herself as Hermione, like when she was asked which character resembled her the most, she always said Hermione first. And I've just always been surprised that she was so gung-ho about Ron Hermione being endgame when she herself said, oh yeah, I dated a lot of Rons, but now I've married my Harry. I just feel that Harry and Hermione make a really good team. They work very well together and they need each other. And they have all these wonderful moments that are just kind of simmering in the background. And this relates to the quotation I said in the beginning where J.K. Rowling says that it could have gone that way. Harry and Hermione, definitely there was a possibility that they could have got together instead. And that kind of goes in line with an interview I read way back after Half-Blood Prince came out. I couldn't find the exact interview, but it's also echoed in the statement I just mentioned. Jo Rowling expressed kind of a difficulty with her characters, like she felt that they were here and that she needed to put them here. And every time Jo Rowling said to look between the lines, and it usually had to do with the plot of the books, I took that very seriously. And especially after hearing that J.K. Rowling's favorite book, one of them at least, was Emma by Jane Austen, a book with a lot of red herring romances in it, I included the romantic subplots in Harry Potter in that read between the lines instruction. I personally felt that Ron and Hermione was a red herring relationship, especially, you know, since she, in interviews, was talking about anvil-sized hints. A relationship like Ron and Hermione's is constructed in such a way that the reader is distracted from the slow-burning relationship of one of those characters and another. And this relationship surfaces at the story's end. But unlike Emma and Mr. Knightley and Frank Churchill and Jane Fairfax, Ron and Hermione are no distraction whatsoever. And this made the whole thing heavy-handed, especially during the epilogue, which was completely about romantic connections. We didn't even find out the trio's occupations until well after the release of Deathly Hallows. But you know what? It's all good. I love to talk about this. This is my favorite literary debate besides anything having to do with Hamlet. And besides, I still have fan fiction.